Next up, we have the controllers. You go here to pads, and it will open the gamepad settings. Make sure you open your window down here so you can see everything, including this important part of stick preview. Here you can see you can change the settings and configure 7 different players, each one of them with their handler, which null means it is not connected, there is no fifth player. Here, for example, player 4 is not connected to because the device is disconnected. For example, those games where when the system detects a second controller connected, it will say press X to join or press triangle to hop in. That won't show up if the handler is set to null or the device is disconnected. Obviously, because if there is no device or if it is disconnected, it is not connected. Player 1. Now, if you have on the handlers, you can use your keyboard. Okay, you can select the keys for the controller emulation. Then you can have DualShock 3. For DualShock 3, there is a description here. You can see the RPCS3 wiki for instructions. I will make it short. You will need to install DSHMC, or at least that's what I installed. Right now I don't have a DualShock 3 with me, but you just connected via USB. You must open this in admin. I forgot. I always forgot this. And why? Only the difference is only visible with the controller connected. This is what happens. If you can also download the Bluetooth PS3 driver, so you can use your DualShock 3 via Bluetooth. In the device, you must change the because your computer won't recognize the DualShock 3 indications. You will change its drivers to DualShock 3 or even to X input if you want. And then you select here X input and not DualShock 3. DualShock 4 only needs to be connected via Bluetooth or wired connection. You don't need, for example, DS4 Windows. You don't need. You just connect it and it will be recognized as a DualShock 4. And then you just select the one that is connected. For example, the controller I have is a controller that states to work both with PlayStation 4 and 5 and Windows. I just plug my USB and it instantly connects. It is a wired controller. What happens is that you can see that DualShock 4 pad, it has this controller is just like a PlayStation 4 controller, just like a DualShock 4. And what happens is that it is not connected. But this controller does not have any software to install and to change anything. Which means if it's not a DualShock 4, it shall be an X input. Because if it is Windows compatible, to be Windows compatible just by plugging it in, it is probably an X input, which is the same connection that Xbox controllers, by the way, in which it will use the Xbox labels for the buttons and will be in X input pad number 1 because it is the only one connected. If I unplug it, if I plug it back, as you can see, DualSense, same story. You just plug it with a wired connection, or you connect it via Bluetooth, and it shall appear here, connected. Skateboard, joystick, SDL. I don't know what that is, so let's just not talk about it. To confirm between players which controller is enabling, is controlling which player, as you can hear, none of the clicky buttons, just the buttons that you click 0 or 1, are shown, but triggers, and down there so triggers here, as you can see, the values between zeros and ones, all the floatings can be seen, so you know which controller is right now selected for player 1. And right here, joysticks, you can also preview the joysticks with their values between -1 and 1 floatings. You can know and recognize which physical controller is connecting what player to the game. Then, some games, in case of PlayStation 3, it is easier, but imagine that for some games you would like to remap the controllers. For example, some of the games you use a different controller and you prefer to change some buttons. I don't know. You just come here, you just create custom gamepad configuration. It will show up a similar page to the pads. Imagine I just put X input. I will change, for example, the X and the triangle, save. And now there is an icon saying that this game has a custom controller setting. You can change it again here. And now I have a button repeated also. It will show a warning. And to delete this, you just go to remove and remove custom gamepad configuration. And yes, and like that the symbol goes. CS3 devices. There is this page, the peripherals and accessories, and the controller configuration. Here you have more or less an instruction to everything that you can connect. You have you have here the list of devices you can connect, and then the instructions for each one of them. The instruments here, also the Skylanders portal, which by the way, you have in manage, you have a Skylanders portal, Infinity Base, and Dimensions toypad emulated in here. That's why my Skylanders are just files. I don't need the physical portal. Then you have here the instructions for more controllers. I will leave this link in the description. Oh, I'm sorry, I already have it. Controller configuration. Here you can see a little information, but little, I mean little information, yes. A little information about the controllers. The DS3, DS4, DualSense, Xbox and X input compatibles, which is my case, the X input compatible. I will make a video eventually outside of the RPCS3 theme about the controllers on Windows, at least on Windows, which is the one I use. Because a lot of people use like DS4 Windows for using DualShock 4 on some computer games. And you must also be aware that some games do not need the DualShock, the DS4 Windows for the DualShock to work on the game. And some games even have problems because of that. And sometimes you don't know how to correct that. Same for DualSense X, which is the app I use, which is just like the DS4 Windows. But that's another separate video. Here you have about the options you have. And right here I really don't know, just I think it was this, I don't know. What I know is that I tried these options and I couldn't make it work properly. So I just searched for DualShock 3 drivers for Windows, and I found this app. Okay, it's the first, it's this one. I couldn't make this one, the Sony official driver, work properly. And actually, I really don't know why I tried that first, but okay. But you choose whatever you want. The one I used was this. I will also leave the link for this page in the description. And I think that's it for here about the controllers. Remember that in configuration you can find also the pads, the mice, the USB devices and cameras. I never used cameras actually, but remember that here is just to select a little setting and the camera it's using. But you can input output, choose the camera input, the type you're using, and the camera handler, which I don't know. Okay, just don't touch what you don't need. And that's it.